Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm going to take you on a journey. Tonight I'm going to offer you an escape from your worries, from your daily routine, from the stresses and heaviness of life. Make sure that you lay down, sit back, and relax. I will take you in a romantic journey of a short story I wrote, with imagination and fantasy like no other. So sit back and relax, and let your imagination take form. And the short story goes like this. I was on a deck-like floor outside. It was nighttime, and I was next to this tall, dark, and handsome man. He had dark, midnight, long curly hair. He had a trench coat on and was 6 feet tall. I describe myself as I am, but tonight I was wearing my long hair down, long and brown. I was wearing my beautiful white mini trench jacket and white pants too. Well, if you ask me, what was I doing there? I wouldn't be able to tell you. But I can tell you this. This man could not take his eyes off of me. He was sincerely hypnotized, staring at my eyes, looking surprised. I was rather intimidated. And he noticed the awkward moment and cleared his throat as he looked down. He then proceeded and said, "Hi, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dominic. And who do I have the pleasure to talk to?" He said in a soft, raspy voice, as he extended his hand to mine. And I gave him my right hand and said, "You have the pleasure to speak to Alotus, but you may call me my lady." "Very well, nice to meet you, my lady. At your service." He slowly bowed down and kissed my hand and looked up to me with his magnetic stare. And then he paused and went to say, "May I say that I apologize for the uncomfortable stare. I have never come across a woman like yourself. Please forgive me." And I said, "Really?" And I giggled. And he said, "Is that a sincere or sarcastic giggle?" I didn't know what to say at this point. To sincerely accept my proposal. "Your proposal?" "What proposal?" I said. With a serious face and tone of voice, he glanced continuously at me, saying, "That you come with me on my ship." "Your ship? Flying?" I said. "Yes, it is a flying ship that takes you anywhere you wish." "Would you like to come? I promise to return you back Whenever you want, he continued. I said, wow, I never heard of that. I must be dreaming. Well, if dreaming is what you want it to be, you can keep it that way. But I seriously doubt you would want to keep it as just a dream, but more like reality. He gave me a sincere smirk at the end of his sentence. I then swallowed hard and looked up to him and said, yes, totally would love to. I smiled. But can you bring me back if I ask? I asked to make sure, of course. And he said, my lady, I will keep my word. So I said, okay, let's go then. And the journey began. And he stopped and said, wait, I am not going to fly off the ship at night. And he said, my lady, your life is in my hands. I will not allow anything or anyone to hurt you. Understood? He said with a very serious tone of whisper over me. So I walked forward to the ship's stairs, which were pretty high. And as he said, watch your step, don't look down, he whispered behind me, behind my ears. And I just got more nervous. Then I put my hands on the ship's stairs and rails, and he was right behind me to make sure I didn't fall. And he also put his hands on the rails. And one step at a time we went up. Till we finally reached the top. Watch your step. There was a step down to the deck. And as I stepped there were crewmen aboard. Some were cleaning the floors and some were pulling some ropes. And they all saluted me. And he told to the man as he stood behind me, men, tonight I have a guest. Meet my lady Alotus. So on the deck we were. After he briefly introduced me to the men on the crew, the ship lifted up in the air. I felt this adrenaline rush of energy in my solar plexus from the sudden lift. The wind was a bit heavy and just threw me off of balance, and I just went forward, but only for him to catch me, and I looked up. I looked up at his big green eyes of concern. Then I heard him say, are you okay? Yes, I'm alright, I said. I want to ask you, my lady, he whispered sincerely. Where would you like to go? I can take you anywhere. You are the star tonight. Where shall we go? He said, as the ship stayed hovering. I want to glide to the clouds. I also want to look down at the pine trees. I want to see the stars in the darkness, I said. And you will shine the brightest among all of them, he whispered. Men, the lady wants to see the clouds. He continued to yell in the background, and soon enough the ship took forward. The wind was so cold on my face. It was freezing. Now it was getting extremely cold. But I didn't say anything because I didn't want to ruin the moment. He then came close to me and said, why are you shaking? Concerned. Well, it's freezing. I wasn't prepared for this cold. I didn't even think this ship would be capable of flying. He looked at me and said, before I give you something to wear, Come with me. I don't want you to miss out on the sightseeing to the most beautiful scenes from out here. He went to the front tip of the ship, and he did not fall despite the wooden ship's unsteadiness. When I almost reached him, there were these 3 little steps that led to him, and I was scared to go upwards. He then turned around towards me and said, "Come up. I promise you won't fall. I have been doing this for eternity, and I still haven't fallen yet." So I carefully stepped little by little, upwards 1 step at a time. He reached out his hand, and I gave him mine. I could see the ocean from up here, and everything else. He got behind me and said, "I won't let you fall. And I promised that you will be in one piece back," he told me in my ear. "Give me your hands," he said. He put his hands from behind him and put mine in his hands, and he started to rub them, and he kissed them and blew warm air on them. "Are you feeling better now?" he said in a soft spoken voice. "I am," I said. "I just don't understand none of this." And he then turned me around slowly, and I looked up, and he was staring right down with his dreamy eyes. "I want to be with you," he said. "I want you to stay here with me forever." I smiled, and he said, "What? What did you smile for? Is that a yes?" And I said, "No. I've been told many things in my life," I continued. He then proceeded and said, "I don't want you to trust me. I am going to earn your trust." I then looked at him and slipped away down to the deck and left him behind on the tip of the ship's front, where we looked down at the ocean, and I walked away to the farthest end of the ship. There in the darkness I stood, and he yelled at my name, saying, "Come back." "Where are you going?" He went to go find me. I had gone to the farthest corner of the ship, and I just stayed there, glancing.